fights back while Carney unveils another list. This is Now You Know. I'm Rob Snow.
The answers you need
from the people in the know.
This is Now You Know with Rob Snow on News Radio.
Pierre Poilievre is making no apologies. The Conservative Party leader was in Calgary speaking to the news media for the first time since an MP left his party to join the Liberals, and another announced he would resign. Poilievre was in a fighting mood, snapping at news reporters and expressing no regrets about the way he leads his party, despite the defection of Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont.
Hey, Tim Brooks, CTV. You lost two MPs the week of the budget. One cited your leadership as a reason for leaving. I just want to put Carney and the Liberals to the side here, just as you personally.
Of course you do.
Does this say anything about your leadership? Have you maybe reflected on your leadership style moving forward?
No, my plan is to continue to lead and be the only leader in the country that's fighting for an affordable Canada, where our people who work hard can afford a home and food. That is my agenda. And I will just quote Mr. D'Entremont when he speaks about Mark Carney. He says, after 6 months under a new Prime Minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting. He said that he would be judged by the cost of groceries at the store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed.
Mr. Poilievre then went on to try and quiz news reporters, asking why they're so obsessed with the Conservative Party and not some of the rumors of unhappy Liberals.
So when you have a Liberal MP attacking the costly credit card budget that Mr. Carney has put forward, then we see turmoil in the Liberals, and I know that there will be wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of this turmoil, of a Liberal MP criticizing his own budget days before the vote. I know you're camped outside his office right now, waiting to get comment from him. I know you've been chasing Mark Carney down hallways to find out what he has to say. It's just been the relentless coverage that you will have of this dissent within the Liberal Party. I understand also there's former Liberal Minister Guilbeault is unhappy with the environmental policies that while he supports raising costs, he doesn't think they raise them enough. We've got Wilkinson is unhappy. So I know that I'm looking forward to seeing the wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of all of the costly turmoil in the Liberal budget.
It wasn't just that news network Poilievre took issue with. He also isn't a big fan of some of the coverage from the public broadcaster.
Aaron Collins, CBC. So Chris D'Entremont, just turning back to last week, said that your party is being run like a frat house. So I'm just curious what you think he means by that, and if you think
well, I think that CBC had to be. Are you with CBC, by the way?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay, right.
So I'm just curious if you think that could lead to more MPs leaving your caucus, and what you think he means by that.
Well, first of all, CBC has had to correct the falsehoods that they put into that story. So I encourage you to tell Canadians about the falsehoods you published and explain why you did that.
While the leader of the opposition was getting feisty with the news media, Prime Minister Mark Carney has been getting ready for his big day today. Mr. Carney will be in Terrace, British Columbia, to unveil his second list of so-called nation-building projects, but the list has already been leaked to the news media. The projects are said to include an electricity transmission line for northern British Columbia, another BC LNG project, a graphite mine in Quebec, a tungsten mine in New Brunswick, a nickel mine in northern Ontario, and a hydroelectric project in Iqaluit, but no oil pipeline. At an event in Toronto, Prime Minister Carney said something will get done on an oil pipeline from Alberta, but earlier this week in Fredericton suggested energy can mean a lot of things.
Back in June, this country shipped our first LNG shipment to Asia. We will ship 50 million tons to Asia by the end of this decade and potentially double that again. And part of what's happening with the major projects is we are making that possible. We're making the speed with which we can do that possible. And we're doing it in a way with the companies, obviously, with Indigenous partners who are full partners in all these projects in a way that's sustainable.
On the absence of an oil pipeline, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith said in a statement her government supports all the projects on the federal government's list and that Alberta is still negotiating with Ottawa on a pipeline. Rebecca Schultz is the environment minister in the province of Alberta. She wasn't as diplomatic.
But it is true. Today, we have seen no difference in policy. We've seen a lot of nice words. We've seen comments about wanting to be an energy superpower, but we've not actually seen one bit of action from the federal government. I think that Albertans are starting to lose their patience. I think industry is starting to see some cracks in that narrative. And so they're looking forward to this Grey Cup deadline to see, okay, is this the time that the federal government is going to show leadership and action on this front?
Alberta has been pressing for a pipeline that would go from the northern part of Alberta to Prince Rupert, British Columbia. The BC government of David Eby is opposed to that. Premier Smith has long said she was hoping for clarity from Ottawa by the Grey Cup. The Grey Cup is this Sunday in Winnipeg. I'm Rob Snow. This is Now You Know. This is News Radio.
Now You Know with Rob Snow continues on News Radio.
He's my friend on the right side of things. Michael Taube is with us every week, syndicated columnist and speechwriter for former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. How are you this week?
I'm doing well, Rob. Hope you are too.
Yeah, very good, Michael. Great to hear from you. Let's talk about Pierre Poilievre. He's the man of the week. The fascination in the news media with Mr. Poilievre's leadership of the Conservative Party, and he had an event with the news media in Calgary yesterday for the first time since the floor crossing, the defection of Chris D'Entremont to the Liberals and all the other drama, of course. Mm-hmm. And he sparred with news reporters a bit, and we'll play some of that. But the narrative the day after in the news media is Poilievre sees no need for reflection. No need for reflection. What do you think? Should he do some reflecting? What do you think?
Well, look, obviously, I think he's getting tired, as any political leader would, of the media, whether it be print, electronic, what we're doing here on radio and TV. I'm sure he's just getting sick and tired of hearing it. In the end, ultimately, it's up to the leader to decide, whether people like it or not, what he or she will do about his or her leadership, which means if you feel that you're still heading in the right direction, you will continue along the same frame, recognizing things that have happened, issues that have occurred, such as Pierre Poilievre losing his seat and having to win a by-election in Alberta to get back into the House of Commons, but feeling that still that the ideas, the policies, the leadership style, and the strategies are correct. And if he feels that way, he'll continue to do so. And if he chooses to change his methodology, the way he narrates certain things, the way he presents his material, the way he conducts media interviews, discussions with the press, etc., he'll do so on his own time. And while that may sound partisan in nature, and it probably is, I would be hard-pressed to believe that any liberal, New Democrat, Green, or otherwise, who is either a pundit, a commentator, a columnist, etc., wouldn't say the same thing, because in the end, it has to be up to the leader to decide, not the media.
Okay, let's listen to a little bit of this together and exchange with the CTV news reporter in Calgary yesterday and Pierre Poilievre. Let's roll the tape here.
So when you have a Liberal MP attacking the costly credit card budget that Mr. Carney has put forward, then we see turmoil in the Liberals, and I know that there will be wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of this turmoil, of a Liberal MP criticizing his own budget days before the vote. I know you're camped outside his office right now, waiting to get comment from him. I know you've been chasing Mark Carney down hallways to find out what he has to say. It's just been the relentless coverage that you will have of this dissent within the Liberal Party. I understand also there's former Liberal.
I think that's good. You get the idea. That's good. Yeah. I mean, when he shoots back at the news media and questions their reporting or what he sees as their bias, what do you think about that?
He didn't say anything wrong. There's nothing there that I would disagree with. There's nothing in the response that he came back and asked me, did I do anything? Should I have done anything differently? Should I have used different language? Nothing said there is incorrect. Now, again, That's from a small C Conservative position. That's from a Conservative Party of Canada position. That's from a right-leaning position. That's what we expect from parts of the media. Not all of it, obviously, but parts of it, that they're going to focus on things that are, yes, unfortunate, like floor crossings, or in the case of Matt Genereux, an MP who was going to resign in the spring and head back towards Alberta, that's what they think that they're going to focus on, rather than the fact that, and I just actually wrote this in my weekly National Post column, which was just literally published a few minutes before our interview started, that we really should have been focusing on a deficit of $78.3 billion in the budget. That, to me, is far more important than one floor crosser.
Do you think, I mean, and if he is being unfairly treated by the news media, like here is the world's smallest violin form, I suppose, but do you think he's being unfairly treated by the news media?
No, and I don't use that as terminology. It's not unfairly treated. It's expected treatment, I think it's fair to say. Conservatives, when they go into politics, expect the media to do certain things. Now, again, there is obviously, and this would take a very long time for us to go through, there are differences between the way reporters look at things and columnists look at things. Reporters specifically deal with the news, but are geared to it either by their own perception of the event, their editor's perception of the event, the newspaper's perception of the event, and they do it basically accordingly to that. And most reporters in most media organizations tend to be either centrist or left of center. That's based on multiple studies that have been done in Canada, the US, the UK, etc. It's all there, and it's obvious. It's very obvious, and there's nothing much to question about it. That's very different than the way a columnist looks at it, like me, who obviously uses his or her own opinion to determine whether this makes sense, doesn't make sense, and why. And that's the way we look at it. But no, to say that conservatives feel mistreated or maltreated by the media, absolutely not. They know what they're getting into when they enter public life, and they know that they have to defend themselves at all costs. That's just the way it is.
Okay. All right. When we come back, our teams in the Canadian Football League did not have the best of seasons, Michael and I. But we're going to talk about ahead of Grey Cup Sunday, the CFL. Rule changes are coming to the CFL. Some people don't like them. And we'll squeeze a prediction out of Michael Taube. How does he see this Grey Cup game shaping up? Riders and Owls on Sunday. I'm Rob Snow. This is Now You Know. This is News Radio.
Now You Know with Rob Snow continues on News Radio.
Here with syndicated columnist, speechwriter for former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, Michael Taube. Not a great season for our teams this season in the Canadian Football League. I had expected so much more from the Ottawa Redblacks, but they were the worst team in the league. Yeah. And, you've been to quite a few Argos games. And look, I mean, without your starting quarterback, it's always tough in the Canadian Football League. And, that was the case for the Argonauts this year. Not a great season, but a great season for Montreal. Congratulations to the Montreal Alouettes.
Yep.
On their way to the Grey Cup, of course. And in the West, it will be the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So before we get a prediction out of you on who you think might take this in the end, let's talk about some of the rule changes that are coming to the great Canadian football game. The Rouge. I always thought that was kind of weird. For next season, the Rouge will no longer include a single point for a missed field goal attempt that goes wide. I never understood why that would be the case anyway. A point will also not be rewarded when a punt or kickoff sails through or rolls out the back or the sides of an end zone without being touched by a returner. So, I mean, that's the two big rule changes. And then the following season, the big changes come. Goalposts will move to the back of the end zone. End zone will be shortened from 20 to 15 yards, and the field will be shortened from 110 to 100. The width of the field will remain the same, 65 yards. And some people are saying it's un-Canadian, it's too American. What do you think?
I have no issue with any of these rules. It doesn't seem like you do, and I certainly don't. I think a lot of things, including the goalpost being moved back, are logical. Again, we have to consider the fact that the CFL, when it was born, was based out of a game that initially started out of rugby. And some of these rules sort of follow through, which is where the rouge, the goalposts, and other things come in. If you look at the way rugby is played, or even games such as Aussie rules football, in other words, you'll notice that things are actually quite different. Yes, because the games are different, but because the origins of the game lead it into different directions. We still have certain rules in the CFL that follow the old Rugby Canada rules, and those are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But I think that everything that was made here, and I commented about it a few months ago when it came out, I think everything is very logical. Like the rouge is basically an old rule that sort of relates to the history of rugby. It's something that really doesn't make sense. And you pointed out something that has always bothered me. Making a point for a missed field goal, which basically is that instead of you're making 3, you're making 1, is ridiculous, because not just because if you watch the NFL that makes no sense, it shouldn't make sense to anyone who has, shall we say, a little bit of sense, that if you don't do something well, you shouldn't be rewarded for it. But then again, as we often see in our schools and otherwise, we get participation medals, or our children do, which really does not help them understand what the difference is between first, second, and third. Just as a point.
All right. Okay. All right. We only have less than a minute left here. So okay. I'm picking the Rough Riders by 10. I'm going Rough Riders by 10 over the Montreal Alouettes. I think the Riders have proven they're the best team in the league. They're going to prove it on Sunday. What do you think?
Yeah, about the same. I'd say maybe Riders by a TD, but big deal. We're not talking a big difference. We're talking a rouge plus 2 points, which is very much. But, yeah, the Riders are the best team of the CFL. They did sort of crumple into the playoffs a little bit, losing their last 2 home games, but they look sharp against BC. Both games, actually, Montreal Hamilton and BC Saskatchewan were both really good games, decided at the last second. But I think the Riders are the better team overall. I'm with you.
Just looking at the weather forecast for Sunday for Winnipeg. Pretty good weather for Grey Cup Sunday. Sunny and a high of +2 and only -5, which is not bad for this time of year in that part of the country. Okay.
That's great.
Enjoy the
Fantastic.
game.
You too.
Thank you. Talk to you soon,
care.
Mike. Bye. Michael Taube, syndicated columnist, with us every Thursday here on News Radio.
There is no question Rob won't get answered.
Now You Know with Rob Snow continues
on News Radio.
It's time for our Thursday News Day political panel. Chris Day's back, Senior Vice President at Hill and Knowlton. How are you, Chris Day? Good to hear from you.
Great to be back with you, and thank you for having me.
And Tom Parkin is back with us as well, longtime political commentator from the left side of things. How are you, Tom? Good to hear from you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, great to hear from you. I'm glad you're with us because I think Chris and I are probably going to lean on you a little bit here. We're going to talk about the NDP. Knowing Chris, he's not a New Democrat. I would not describe myself as a New Democrat. What do you think, Tom, of these news reports? The NDP is getting election ready. What do you think about that? Why would the NDP be getting election ready?
Yeah, well, I think there's 2 stories that are getting a little bit intertwined here, which we need to actually unravel. One theme is that the NDP's National Council, which meets 2 or 3 times a year, recently had a meeting, and they identified that one of the problems that the party has is that the nominations process come too slow, too late, and that's puts local campaigns in jeopardy. And given that it's a minority, they have to work on that. So that's really one story. It's a very general thing. Then we have this very specific situation where there's confidence votes coming up in the next week. And I think those stories got a little bit conflated. So I think they're different. But they're both important. And then there is the second story about how does the NDP position itself with respect to this budget and how it should vote.
Okay, we'll dig in a little bit more into this. Chris, I'm sure you saw that story in the Toronto Star, NDP getting election ready. What did you make of that?
Well, I mean, the constant state of election readiness is a feature, not a bug, of minority parliaments. So I think parties of all stripes need to be cognizant of the fact that 3 months from now things could be very, very different than they are right now, and that we could find ourselves, whether by design or by accident, in an election campaign at any moment. So I think right now the state of play is very much that the NDP is in an interim leadership position. They've got a leadership campaign that's underway, and it's kind of a battle for the control and the soul of the party, I think, and a battle for increased relevance or finding their voice in the current moment that we're finding ourselves in. But they would be missing the mark completely as a political party if they weren't getting election ready, or at least having an eye to the need to be election ready at the drop of a hat.
Okay. Tom, how does the NDP even run an election campaign if they don't have a permanent leader?
Well, that he would become the leader. Don Davies would become the leader if there was to be an election campaign. All of a sudden, he would be the leader, and he would be the person who would be, doing the national tour, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just I don't. Here's a situation I think the NDP is in, and it's a little bit of a box, and they're trying to find a way out. One piece of the puzzle is that they really need to find a way to appeal to conservative voters, people who are not, who are kind of anti-liberal, and they might consider the NDP under other circumstances, but they found that the NDP was too close to the Liberals over the last number of years with the agreement between the NDP and the Liberals. So they've turned off, and there's been a wall built there, and so they got to kind of increase the contrast. Brighten up the contrast between the Liberals and the NDP. So their instinct is to want to oppose this government and oppose it on grounds that some conservative, kind of more blue-collar conservatives might find appealing reasons. So that's the thing. So they want to oppose. That's the instinct. But no Canadian really wants an election right now, and certainly the New Democrats don't, because they don't have the funds. And as you already mentioned, they're an interim leader and they don't have the resources in place. It's an interesting game of how do they escape that situation and get to the place where they can brighten that contrast so they can increase their interest to people who have been maybe stuck voting conservative because they see the NDP as not. They'd also love to get back to official party.
They'd also love to get back to official party status.
Yeah,
and maybe there would be maybe there might be an opportunity to win back some of the seats that they lost in the April election. And maybe, I guess, reading from this report, one strategy to do that would be you don't run candidates in 343 ridings. You instead pour whatever resources, limited though they may be, you have into targeting seats so you have a really good shot of winning. What do you think about that, Tom? And then I'll get a comment from Chris. What do you think, Tom?
No, that is the right approach. First of all, the NDP's federal constitution says they do have to run candidates in all ridings. So that can't be changed. But that doesn't mean everyone has to be a priority. And given the resources, given the need to expand, you have to put your money and your time into the places that are going to make a difference. And that's what that paper is all about. And frankly, that's what every party knows it has to do. Whether it's, every party has its weak seats that they never win. And it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to put a lot of resources into those unless they're really looking at a sweep. The NDP's not looking at a sweep right now. They're looking at targeting to make gains to get back to official party status. And also to try another strategic problem is to try and break the idea that this is now a two-party system. To make themselves relevant in the mix.
I mean, how realistic are those goals, Chris? What do you think? Get back to 12 seats?
I mean, it shouldn't be that much of a struggle for a national party to get 12 seats, honestly. But they've become completely irrelevant in the national conversation in a lot of ways, and let themselves had their lunch eaten with very, very few results under the Jagmeet Singh tenure. The new leader has a really, really tough row to hoe, and a really tough road back for the NDP. So I think that's what the leadership piece and getting that question solved is going to be so critical as to whether or not the party can or should come back in its current form to official party status.
Yeah, a little more on this, and then we'll talk about Mr. Polyev meeting the news media yesterday and sparring at points with the news media. Still ahead on our Newsday panel here on News Radio.
You have questions.
Now You Know with Rob Snow has the answers.
On News Radio.
Here with Chris Day, Senior Vice President, Hill and Knowlton, Tom Parkin, longtime political commentator from the left side of things. I just want to talk a little bit more about the New Democrats. I think a lot of NDP voters lent their vote to the Liberals in the last election. I'm wondering, Tom, how you think, I call them red-orange flippers, how some of those swing voters might be feeling about Mark Carney and what they might be disappointed about with Mark Carney. What would some of those things be, do you think?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Now, as much as I did say, there needs to be a resolution to finding blue-collar conservatives who are wanting to come to the NDP. Getting back those people who switched to the Liberals is important as well. The key things I think here are, one, there doesn't seem to be that level of urgency in the defense of Canada's sovereignty that I thought that we were all heading for. This week we had the budget. Last week we had the budget. It included a Buy Canada policy for federal government, federal agencies, and projects that are funded by federal dollars, which shifted from a policy of best efforts to procure Canadian-made materials and Canadian services to wherever possible. Now, to me, that's a very small shift, and it didn't take 10 months to do. And during this period, we've had lots of foreign steel, lots of foreign lumber still coming into this country. So I think there's a lack of urgency in Mr. Carney that people are beginning to feel is much less than is what is needed to defend our economy and defend our sovereignty. So there's that point. And also, by the way, these Buy Canada policies that he announced aren't even going to come into play for a number of more months. So it's going to be like a whole year that Trump has been attacking us, and we have not been putting our strongest cards forward. So I think that's one thing, the jobs piece, the sovereignty piece. The other is the austerity part. And I don't think New Democrats, they tend to believe
$78 billion deficit, Tom. Like a $78 billion deficit. Yeah. What austerity?
Yeah. So, we've had, it's about where that money is going. So we're having the trims in money going to health transfers, for example. Then there's going to be reductions in federal public service jobs.
Okay, so let's circle back to that. I want to hear from Chris. I want to hear from Chris. Yeah. Let's say the NDP, there's enough NDP swing voters who are, they have buyer's remorse, if you will. Chris, I mean, is that any kind of game changer? What do you think?
Well, I think under the right leader, it could absolutely be, for all the reasons that Tom was laying out. The right leader can go after those, orange, red flippers, as you called them. They can go after that sort of working class, Canadian that traditionally supported the NDP. But the problem is that the NDP has been spouting government talking points for the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and getting very little results for all of the money that has been spent and that they have put their votes behind. The average family has not seen their state of play, their household finances improve. They've not seen their healthcare system improve. They've not seen the environment. Climate change has not stopped. Et cetera. Like, we've been talking about things under the Justin Trudeau era and now into the Mark Carney era, where people are not seeing results. And I think that is the real challenge for this prime minister. He's talking about big things, but that won't yield actual concrete results necessarily. That's an opportunity for both the opposition party, or both the national opposition parties, to make hay and shake loose some votes potentially.
Okay, all right. Look, when we stop here, we'll have to get into Pierre Poilievre, his news conference yesterday. No regrets about losing an MP to the Liberals. One of my questions will be, should he be reflecting on things? What should he reflect on if he's supposed to be reflecting? And what do people think when they hear Poilievre spar with the media? It's not the first time he's done it, but I do wonder how it goes over. When we come back on News Radio.
No question goes unasked or unanswered.
Now You Know with Rob Snow returns on News Radio.
Tom Parkin, Chris Day here on our Newsday panel. So for the first time since the floor crossing drama, Poilievre meant the news media sparred with some of the reporters, but offered no regrets about losing an MP to the Liberals. Another one, of course, announced he will resign sometime next year. Chris Day, does Poilievre need to reflect? If he does, what should he reflect on? What would you say?
Well, in that particular news conference, he needed at least another couple of quotes from Chris D'Entremont, I would argue, because he kept repeating the same ones.
Okay.
But I don't. So I think there's rock and hard place stuff here. In terms of owning the messaging on pocketbook affordability, cost of living issues that have gotten Pierre Poilievre to 41% consistently in national polls, I don't think he needs to pivot, change, reflect on his main message track. Perhaps the style, perhaps the tone, but he does need to find a way to regain favor with a particular segment of the population. We've talked about this in a number of panels before. An advantage with respect to people who have lent their votes previously to red or blue candidates in their ridings, specifically middle-aged and older women in suburban ridings, that may have voted for Mulroney, may have voted for Harper, maybe even voted for Scheer or O'Toole, but didn't vote for Pierre Poilievre last time. And he's got to find a way to connect with those voters. Otherwise, he will be perpetually in second place.
Yeah.
Okay, just let me, before we get to Tom, how do you think it goes over if people are watching this at home? How does it go over when he's snapping at CTV or he's snapping at CBC? How do you think that goes over with people, Chris?
I mean, so the CBC... I
mean, for the base, the base, it's like red meat for the base. So I just wonder, you could need more than a base,
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that listen to and watch, a lot of people that listen to the CBC. Not many people watch them, but there's a lot of people who are sort of don't like that sort of confrontational approach. They associate it with Donald Trump. They associate it with nastiness, et cetera. They don't like it. So you try and avoid that, I think. But in the case of the CBC, where over the weekend they were leading with news stories that were subsequently proved to be factually inaccurate. Those types of things I can appreciate are tough to not call out when they're then asking you about the same thing over and over again. Listen, no leader likes to be in that position. No leader likes to have the type of week that Pierre Poilievre had last week. But you've got to rise above it. Right.
All right. We only have about 90 seconds left, Tom. Sorry, we only have about 90 seconds left. But what are your thoughts?
No sweat. Well, the Conservatives regularly poll around 40%, sometimes above, sometimes below. And that's good enough. That's certainly within target range of winning. I think the real challenge here is that when you look at the best for Prime Minister polling, Mr. Poilievre just falls way down, way down. And so the issue is really about him. Now, he's very beloved by some people in the conservative movement, as they like to say. And I think that's because of his chippiness, because he's willing to kind of attack the institutions that have let them down. And I kind of understand that mood. I get it, but it's not enough, and it kind of boxes him in with the with others who want to see, I think, something that's less attack. And so if I was to think about offering some advice, helpful advice to Mr. Poilievre, it would be try and think more positively about Canada. And try and think a little bit more about what Canada can be and your hopes and your visions for it, and start articulating that rather than just why the government is bad, why the government is wrong, and why this country is going in the wrong direction all the time. It's just too negative.
Okay, we'll wrap it up there. Great to hear from both of you today. Enjoyed the discussion, and we'll speak soon. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, Rob.
Take care. Both of you.
Yeah, Chris Day from Hill and Knowlton, Tom Parkin as well. Longtime political commentator. Talkback is coming up next. Right here on News Radio.
It's time to talk back.
On Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Call now.
And have your say.
1-833-668-2577.
Welcome to Talkback. 2 hours of debate and discussion on the big issues of the day. Today's topic: going green and saving money. Going green and saving money. What do we mean by that? Well, here's what we want to know. What have you done at home that's good for the environment, but has also saved you money? What have you done at home that's been good for the environment, but has also saved you money? One of the reasons we want to get into this today is because normally this time of year is when climate change is all over the news, climate change, because of the big global climate change conference that's happening right now in Brazil, COP30, Conference of the Parties, COP30. And that's the big climate change meeting. It's put on by the United Nations every year. And so world leaders and other officials and their hangers-on and various other global bigwigs, they're all in Brazil now to talk about the global fight against climate change. And this year, they're going to talk about the Paris Accord, and they're going to talk about keeping global temperature increases below 1.5 degrees Celsius and climate finance, the energy transition, biodiversity, net zero, meeting targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions, all the big stuff. And there have been dire warnings about how time is running out and how we're on the cusp of a climate catastrophe and our children will inherit a world that's basically going to be unlivable. And our Minister of the Environment and Climate Change is there, Julie DeBruzen, Toronto area MP, and for some reason, Stephen Guilbeault is there, even though he's not the Environment Minister anymore. He's the Heritage Minister, but he's there too. Because, hey, who can resist a junket to Brazil as the snow falls and the temperature plummets in Montreal? And who knows, maybe our leaders will sign some more global agreements that we will never abide by, and they will set new targets that we will never meet, as long as everyone has a good time in Brazil. But they're talking about the big, big stuff, okay? The global view. We're not really interested in that today. We're a lot more interested in what you are doing. Because for years we've been told we need to go green. We need to do more to help the environment. Okay? Need to conserve energy. Be more energy efficient. We need to reduce waste. We need to be more thoughtful and aware of our own carbon footprints. Use public transit instead of driving anywhere if you need to drive by an electric vehicle. Cut down on household waste. Recycle. Don't use single-use plastics. Scale back electricity usage. Invest in a heat pump. Get some solar panels on the roof. LED lighting. All of this stuff. This is what we're interested in today. Now, that's what we're interested in today. What have you been doing at your place, in your life, that is beneficial for the environment, but also saves money. Because, this is the time of year, temperatures are falling. If you have not had snow already, it's on the way. And people will be trying to stay warm, keeping an eye on the thermostat. And winter weather is arriving at a time when a lot of household budgets are already stretched pretty thin because of the higher cost of living. So we want to know what changes you've made around the house, what changes maybe you've made to your lifestyle that could be seen as being, say, good for the environment, but also good for the budget, the household budget. For example, the federal government and many provincial governments, for that matter, they'll give you a big rebate if you want to install a heat pump. It's supposed to be very energy efficient, better for the environment, big money saver. Have you installed one? Has it been a big money saver? What's been your experience? The federal government used to have a program called the Greener Homes Loan Program. But all the loans have been spoken for, so the government isn't accepting more applications for loans. But that was a 10-year interest-free loan from the government for up to $40,000, and an energy advisor would visit your home. Here's what you need. And you could use the money from that loan to pay for a heat pump or install more insulation or new windows and doors, solar panels, high-efficiency furnaces, water heaters, smart thermostats, this kind of stuff. Anyone out there take advantage of that program? What was it like? The government says it was a smashing success. What was your experience with it? 1-833-668-2577. Of course, the government would love it if you bought an electric vehicle. Some people were expecting the Liberals to bring back the federal rebate program for EVs in the recent federal budget. It didn't do that. A few provincial governments still offer rebates, not just on the vehicles, but also on the home charging gear that you need for the EV. I mean, have you bought an electric vehicle? What kind of money are you saving with an EV? If you used to drive a gas-powered vehicle, but now you're an EV owner, what kind of money are you saving? Have you installed solar panels? Was that a worthwhile investment? Would you recommend that to a friend or to a neighbor? I'd be curious how much it cost and how much you're saving, and whether you are making money selling electricity back into the grid. Going green. What are you doing at your place that's green and saves money? Like, for example, do you grow any of your own food? What's more sustainable than that? Vegetable garden, greenhouse, beehives. You raise any of your own food? Anyone have backyard chickens, for example? Are you even allowed to have backyard chickens where you live? Like a little chicken coop. I read today that in Calgary, if you want backyard chickens, you need to take a training course. Is that true? Anyone out there living off grid? I'd love to hear from somebody who just is like entirely off the grid. It's kind of always been a dream of mine, wave goodbye to the utility company. Just go off grid if you've done that or know someone who's done that. What was involved with that? Has that been worth it? Home retrofits, EVs, lifestyle changes, domestic food production. What have you done that could be seen as good for the environment, but has offered bang for the buck? Give us a call, 1-833-668-2577 on Talkback today. 1-833-668-2577 is our call-in line. If you've never called before, just mention that. We will make your call a priority. Going green and saving money on Talkback today on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So we're calling it Going Green and Saving Money. And we're asking, what have you done at your place, in your life, with your house, that is good for the environment, but also saves money. What saved you the most money? I'd be really interested. Heat pumps, solar panels, energy efficient retrofits, EVs, taking public transit, leaving the car at home, growing your own food, gardening, greenhouses. How about raising your own food? Chickens, backyard chickens, living off grid. You know anyone who lives off grid? What green investment? Is that a dirty word? I don't think so. Green investment has delivered the most bang for the buck. 1-833-668-2577. Interesting topic today. Let's go to Dave is in Calgary. Hi, Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hello.
Hi, Dave. Yeah, good to hear from you, Dave.
Yeah. Good to listen in. And going green. I've got my house is all ready for solar panels, or was all ready for solar panels.
Okay.
And the recent upgrade to the house was energy efficient furnace. My house is built in 92, so furnace is going to go sometime soon. So upgraded to energy efficient furnace, and I went with a heat pump instead of a traditional AC. And my house is all ready for solar, and the government quit the $5,000 grant, which put it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say out of reach, but
okay,
it made it more difficult to do, and so I decided not to go with it. I'm hoping that our government is going to come back with something like that.
So was that an Alberta government program, Dave? Or a Canadian government program? Federal government program?
That was a Canadian government program. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
So
all right.
I keep seeing all these things about, you can save so much money in Alberta going solar, but there's no, you can get some tax credits, but there is nothing that's actually going to save you anything. I've also got a hot tub, so solar panels would be a boon for my house. One thing that I'm lucky at is my house faces straight south, the back of my house. So I have room for 11 kilowatts of solar panels, the same as my neighbor down the street, who did get in on the on the grant and took advantage of the interest-free loan. So his energy bills are a break-even point to costing him less than $20 a month, and he does have a hot tub. He's got 10.5 kilowatts of solar panels on his roof.
Let me ask you. I hope you'll answer this question. You say you're ready for solar panels, but the lack of a grant has kind of put it out of reach. What do they want for solar panels these days? Installation and everything. What's that cost these days for a system like you want to do?
For the system that I want, I got 3 quotes, and they were all in that between 9 and 11 kilowatts, and they were anywhere from 16,000 to 20,000. And the 20,000 one, I believe their philosophy was, oh well, if you get the the Greener Homes loan, you'll get you can get $20,000, and so all of their solar panel installs are automatically 20,000. So the other 2 were a little more, I believe, realistic in their quotes.
All right, interesting. And the heat pump is installed? Is it installed now, the heat pump?
It is. The heat pump's installed.
Yeah.
And
how much was that?
There was a $1,500 sale on that, and it actually cost me identical to one of the other company's regular AC units. So that was like $7,000 by itself. So the furnace was $7. The heat pump was $7.
Wow. Big
I
bucks.
mean, I got a humidifier and I got a hot water tank at the same time. So I mean, the bill was like $18,000. I think by the time all was said and done.
How much did you get back for it?
Zero.
Zero. Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Zero. I have got no money back.
Okay.
But,
okay.
But there could be some rebates that because I'm a senior and on limited income, there might be some rebates that might might be entitled
Look,
to.
Dave, thank you. Thank you. Big outlay. I mean, $16,000 to $20,000 for solar, $18,000 to get the heat pump in. There you go. Let's keep it going here. Lots of lines available on the topic. Going green and trying to save money. What's saving you money going green? On Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So we have been asking at the household level, what have you done at your place that could be seen as good for the environment, but is also saving money? And what saved you the most money? And we're thinking things like heat pumps, solar panels, energy efficient retrofits, buying EVs, this kind of stuff. 1-833-668-2577. 1-833-668-2577. Greg is in Halifax. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Greg. Yeah, good to hear from you today.
I just want. Hey, thanks for having me. They burn less energy, like air-to-air heat pumps. I know people out west, they complain about them that they don't work, low temperatures, but now you can get them to minus 30.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm all for that saving money. But really, if I can make a comment on climate change, it's basically a vehicle to bring us to communism.
Yeah, that's not the topic today. I was pretty clear about that. I don't want to talk about, what people think about climate change. What I'm trying to get at today is what could be seen as being good for the environment, but also saves money. I'm talking about the household level. I don't want to get into off track and have some, grand debate about climate change is this and climate change is that. We can have that debate, some other day, but that's not what we're talking about today. Thank you for your call, Greg. Let's go to Judith is in Calgary. Hi, Judith. Judith, are you there? Okay. All right. That's frustrating. Again, let's reset here. Okay. Going green and saving money. Okay. The government's always encouraging, go green, go green, go green. What I want to get at is, some of these investments are big money investments. Heat pumps are, they can be expensive, but there are rebates available. Solar panels, major investment to put solar panels on your roof, for example. But do they pay for themselves in the end? What about programs to help you make energy efficient retrofits? Have you taken advantage of those programs? What have you done? And what kind of payoff have you seen at the end? There's always been this, great debate. Do you really save money if you buy an electric vehicle? Okay. Do you really save money if you buy an electric vehicle? Well, we're asking that today. Electric vehicles are, say, more expensive than a lot of vehicles that are powered with internal combustion engines, but give us a sense of that. I'm sure you've done the calculations. I used to spend this much every month on gas, and now instead I spend this much on electricity, even with the, say, premium of buying an electric vehicle and the cost to install the infrastructure at home. These are the kind of things we want to explore with your help today. 1-833-668-2577. Every single phone line is available right now. We are seeking knowledge today with your help here on Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
What have you done that could be seen as being good for the environment, but also saves money? What saved you the most money? What does it cost to go green? For example, if you were to make your home super duper energy efficient, I mean, how much money are we talking here? I came across an article getting ready for the show today. It was from rates.ca. Okay. The headline, Going Green at Home, What It Really Costs to Do Good. Now, this was about the home they used was a home in Ontario, suburban GTA. It said, Going green, what does it really cost to do good? Well, not cheap. But remember that, government, the federal government, various provincial governments with their programs, they will kick money back to you. And I was just wondering, how much money do you have to put down in the first place? And what kind of money can you save after everything's done? And this article says to go, say, green in a big, big way would be almost $79,000. $79,000, like $80,000, like smackers, $80,000. But that's basically for everything. Let me run this down for you, okay? You may have some thoughts on it. Rates.ca. What goes into this number, $79,000? Well, you would get a super duper energy efficient house. It says new windows, $8,000. Insulation upgrades, $4,200. Rooftop solar panels, $22,500. Heat pumps, $21,500, which I thought was kind of on the high side, $21,500. In-home battery storage system, $22,500. And you add it all up, and the article says total cost $78,692. $78,692. And then it runs down all the rebates that would be offered on all of this stuff. The rebates would total $35,942. Net total cost $42,750. So for all of that money, and the sample home used is a typical suburban home in the Greater Toronto area, heated with natural gas and serviced by Hydro One, the big electricity utility in Ontario. The article says the homeowner who would make these kinds of upgrades, investments, would save $1,300 a year in heating costs and $936 a year in electricity. Total yearly savings, $2,258 on heat and hydro. $2,248. So with a net cost of being $42,000 to make all of the investments, this article says, not me, the article, it would take 19 years to recoup the investment, which I found rather astonishing. But it sounds like the Cadillac of energy efficiency, if not the Rolls-Royce. But 19 years kind of like pay for itself. I don't know. Does that sound right to you? 1-833-668-2577. Brian is in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. Hello, Brian.
Good day, Rob. How are you today?
Very, very good, Brian. Thanks for calling.
You hit the topic for me today. I live totally off-grid. Just built the house last year, and we are 100% off-grid.
Wow. And what went into that? Tell me about that. What does that mean for you?
For us, we are no wires, no nothing. And what happened was last year we were building our retirement home. Nova Scotia Power wanted $30,000 to hook up because we're quite a ways in the woods. And out of nowhere, they wanted $50,000 after a month or so. So then we got in contact with the company in Texas, and we have the Cadillac system for $45,000. So we saved $5,000 right away.
Okay.
We have a massive solar field in the backyard. You don't want your solar panels on your roof. We have battery storage, in-floor heat. We have a wood stove. We grow our own food. We do our own chickens, pigs, ducks.
Wow.
All of it.
Wow. That sounds amazing. That sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
So we started this last year. We built the home, it's a brand new home, 2,200 square feet, full-size washer, dryer, 3 deep freezes, full-size fridge, microwave, all of it.
Well, you're ready for everything. Okay.
Everything.
And to do all of the infrastructure to live off grid where you don't need to even be connected to the pole. What did that run you?
That ran us $45,000.
45,000. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So now Nova Scotia Power wanted 55 to run the line because our driveway, we are about 2 kilometers from the nearest pole.
Okay.
So it
was actually cheaper. It was actually cheaper.
Yes,
it was actually cheaper for you.
Yeah. So what happened was they wanted 30, but then they doubled it on us. So we did our research. We knew nothing about solar power, and we installed it all. We did it all. We did it. You can do it. Anybody can do it.
Really? Okay. Have you been through a winter yet with it? I'm curious.
We have been through a winter. I designed.
And what was that like? What was that like? Any problems?
Perfect. No problems.
Perfect, eh?
We designed the system for February. So in the summer months, we are fully charged and running off the solar panels all day, and the batteries don't kick in until nighttime, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So in the daytime, we're running off our panels, everything. The stove, the fridge, everything's off the panels. We got so much energy coming in, we could do 3 houses.
Right. Right. And what are you? I'm guessing you're well and septic. Is that what you have there? Or?
Correct. We're well and septic. And so we have no bills. You have
no utility bills at all?
At all. We have in-floor heating with propane, but we found the propane cost a bit last year because it was a cold winter. So this year we decided to put a wood stove in, and now we have no heat bill.
Right. Let me ask you this. Because I have heard this, I don't know if it's kind of an urban legend or maybe a rural legend. The utility company doesn't like it when you're completely disconnected from the grid. Did they give you a hard time at all?
If you want to have me on back after the commercial, I tell you all about that.
Oh, really? That was an issue?
No,
was it an issue?
It was a big issue.
It was a big issue. Okay. I can't have you back on because we do have some other calls to get to.
Okay,
but that's really interesting. Go totally off grid, no utility bills whatsoever.
And we grow
with
our own
solar,
food.
With solar on the land, not on the roof. 45 grand. Completely self-sufficient. Really interesting, Brian. I'm so glad you called today. Thank you. Be right back. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So we've been calling it going green and saving money, but basically we want to know what you've done at your place that's could be seen as good for the environment, but also saves money. And what save you the most money? We're looking for ideas like heat pumps, solar panels, retrofits, EVs, this sort of stuff. Gordon in Airdrie today. Hi, Gordon.
Hi there.
Hi, Gordon. Yeah.
Hello.
Thanks for calling, Gordon.
Hi, I just thought I'd share that we put solar panels on in June this year. And they've been producing quite well. We've made about 7,500 kilowatt hours so far.
Okay.
And our power bill is currently negative.
Negative? You have a negative power bill. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's credits on the power bill being a net producer.
Right. Okay, so you get credit because in some provinces you can sell the electricity back into the grid. And I was wondering how that works. So you get a credit on your bill. How much is your bills used to be?
Yeah, so we're sitting around, say, $180 a month or so.
Okay,
and now we're sitting. Go ahead.
Right. Okay, $180 a month. Right. Okay. Yeah.
And now we have a credit of about $230 from the provider. So we make about 30 cents a kilowatt hour when we sell, and we buy, and we also purchase it for 30 cents a kilowatt hour.
Right. Okay. And
then,
if you don't mind me
as the
asking,
winter-
how much did that cost you, sir, to put that array in?
So about 40,000 all in
40,000.
with the Greener Homes loan, and that's
Okay.
for 12 kilowatts on the roof.
Right. And you did get the green loan from the federal government.
Yeah, the Greener Homes loan. Yeah,
Yeah. Which is that's interest free, right? Yeah.
correct. So it remains to be seen how long it will take to make money doing it or save money doing it. But
Yeah.
currently, we're producing our own power and selling it to the grid when it's sunny, and as the winter progresses here, it's tapering off. So we'll see how it performs over the winter. But I expect next year we'll be able to produce during the summer months.
Okay. What was your motivation for doing that?
I think a little bit to save some money eventually, and a little bit to do our part for the environment.
Okay. You think it was worth the money?
And it's interesting.
Do you have any regrets at all?
Some regrets. I think if I were to do it again, I would probably choose to supervise the install a little bit more to make sure that they did it to my satisfaction. That would be the only regret.
Okay. But you have negative electricity bills as of now, as a result of this.
Currently, yes.
$40,000, was to save $180 a month, maybe a little bit more. That's a big outlay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
You still have a loan payment. Don't forget about that.
And the loan payment. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Gordon. Yeah. Good to hear from you. Interesting. And TJ up next. Hi, TJ.
Hi there. How are you doing?
Very good, TJ. Thank you for calling. Yep. What about you?
So we put about 10 kilowatts of solar on our roof.
Yeah.
And we paired that with an EV charger.
Okay.
And we're quite happy with the end result. We're producing slightly more than we need. We've dropped out all of our bills for gasoline for the cars. Maintenance dropped on cars because EVs don't take a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
We were very careful with the outlay of money to install it. We probably paid about $20,000 to get the solar on the roof. And on top of that, I did put new roofing up there underneath the solar, which is something that you may or may not have to do. We put the EV charger in. That was something that we saved a bunch of money on. We used Black Box Energy Manager when we put that in, so we didn't have to upgrade the service, which was a huge cost savings. So that probably cost us about $3,500 to get it all installed, and we're saving lots of money. Been happy with it, no issues.
Okay. What when you say lots of money, what does lots of money mean? Like,
well,
for example, on your utility bills and not having to say fill a vehicle with gas. What do you figure you're saving?
I figure we're probably saving between $150 and $200 a month on fuel charges, and probably another $200 a month on electricity. At some point, we'll probably be crediting back, and I figure we'll probably see, a 4-year return on investment, and then everything after that is money in the pocket.
Really?
But you have to be very careful with who you choose to do the installations, because there's a lot of people out there that are overcharging, or electricians that say they have to upgrade your service to do EVs and all these sort of things. But there is options out there if you're looking. You just got to inform yourself, be careful who you talk to and choose, get a lot of prices, and you can get it done for a reasonable cost.
Okay, thank you. So right now, probably saving $500 a month or so, ballpark. Be right back. I'm Rob Snow. Going green, saving money, heat pumps, solar panels, EVs, all of it. Let's talk about it. Your calls, please. Your experiences. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Heat pumps, solar panels, retrofits, energy-efficient retrofits, EVs. What have you done that is good for the environment but saves money? What saved you the most money? How much money are you saving? Let's go to Judith. I think we're going to connect here with Judith again. Hi, Judith.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, very good, Judith. Thanks for calling. What's your experience?
All right. Well, I have solar on my roof, 7.8 kilowatts, which I got through with the interest-free loan from the government as well as the government grant. And the payment is about $190 a month over 10 years.
Okay.
And it costs about $24,000 to install. And then, of course, I got the $5,000 back. I also have an EV.
Okay.
And it's a relatively new house. So when I bought the house, they had it's like a dryer plug in the garage. And so it costs nothing for me to actually get the connection to charge my vehicle.
You already had it installed. Okay, that was handy then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I grow, vegetables in my vegetable garden in the backyard.
yeah.
I also have bees.
Oh, you do have bees. Okay.
I have bees,
Wow.
yes.
Wow. Wow.
But having bees is not a money-making project. It's actually a very expensive hobby.
Okay. Right. Okay.
But I say.
So how long have you had if I could, Judith, I'm curious, with the solar, like how long have you had it?
I've had it 4 years.
Oh, 4 years. Okay. And what's that been like for you? What's it done to your bills?
It's been really good. The problem in Calgary, and I don't know if it's in other provinces, it's not the electricity cost, it's the transmission fees. So I produce more electricity than I need, but I still have to pay all the taxes, all the transmission fees, et cetera, et cetera. And it doesn't matter whether I use no electricity or not. They still charge me the transmission fees.
Okay, so for example, we had a caller from Airdrie who said they have credit on their bill. Are you experiencing that as well? Credits on your bill?
No, I mean I have a credit for the actual electricity, but then when you start adding the transmission costs on it, that kind of eats into the credit.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So with everything, the solar panel, which, 21,000, you bought an EV, the charging was already there. How much do you figure you're saving compared to before you did all of this? Have you ever done that? Run those numbers?
Yes. On the actual vehicle, I save about $250 a month.
Okay.
And on the solar, I don't know, maybe $150 a month.
$150
I do
a
the
month.
solar. You can do it like a solar club, where in the summer, you get money a higher price.
Gotcha.
And
But about so about 400 a month. Okay, interesting.
It's time to talk back.
On Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Call now.
And have your say.
1-833-668-2577.
Going green and saving money. Welcome to hour number 2 of Talkback. What have you done that's good for the environment but also saves money? What saved the most money? We're talking about things like heat pumps, solar panels, energy-efficient retrofits that maybe you've done around your house, buying EVs, this sort of stuff. Growing your own food, maybe even raising your own food. Some people have backyard chickens, for example. Spoke to one guy, 45,000, lives totally off-grid, completely off the grid. He has said goodbye to any utility bills whatsoever. Let's go to Rick, is in Calgary today. Hello, Rick. Lots of calls from Calgary today. Hi, Rick.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
Very good, Rick. Thank you for calling. What's your experience?
Okay. Well, I'm going to go one step further than that. I have two friends of mine, one in Edmonton and one in Calgary. They both bought electric vehicles. And the one in Edmonton, he regrets it only. He likes the gas mileage and all that sort of stuff where he doesn't have to pay for it. But in Edmonton's cold in the wintertime. He has a real tough time with issues keeping it started or getting it started or even getting the doors to open. So that's just an issue. But the one friend of mine in Calgary, though, and this is the bigger one, he bought a top-of-the-line Tesla because he travels so much in Western Canada. Puts about 40 to 45,000 clicks a year on his car. Last year, once it hit 130,000 clicks, he went to trade in, and he was shocked how little they would give him for it. So he thought he would keep it for one more year, which I kind of talked him into it to save money. And what happened now is he's got 160,000 kilometers, and he can't get the car to start. So he took it in, and they said he needed to get a new battery. And he said, well, so he said, well, there's got to be some sort of warranty or something to do this. Because they told him the new battery, Rob, $24,000 to install a new battery. And he just about had a heart attack. He just said, this is nuts, right? So he complained to the Tesla rep, the Western Canadian rep. And the rep said, well, this is what happens with these batteries, and this is what it costs to replace them. And he said they used to help people out before, but they're not doing it anymore because it's getting too costly. So he's basically got a car that he has to put $24,000 into it, knowing that he can't even sell it for $24,000. So I was actually thinking about buying one. And he told me, he says, don't. He says, because as soon as you take it off the lot and it's a used car, it's not worth very much money. And if you keep it for a long time and have to replace the battery, well, then you're just toast. You're done. So that's what my friends are going through right now.
Okay. Would you ever consider doing what we've heard from some of the other callers, like solar panels, for example? Have you ever looked into anything like that?
No, I haven't. I live on an acreage, pretty big house, and listening to you, just the numbers that I've looked at and I've played with, the payout isn't in my lifetime, and I think I've got about 25 years left to live, hopefully. But I would never see a payout, and I don't do business that way. If I can't see a payout that's reasonable, then we just carry on doing things the way we are.
Okay, fair enough, Rick. Thank you. I do wonder about some of the outlays here. I mean, I understand a lot of people got the previous callers in the first hour did take advantage of the Green Home Loans Program, $40,000 up to 40. You can borrow up to $40,000. Well, it's closed now. The program's closed, but you could have qualified for up to $40,000 interest free. You pay back over 10 years. Solar panel installation, $21,000. Loan payment, $190. Monthly savings, $150. I mean, I don't know. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is what I'm wondering. Because that's a huge outlay. Blake in Calgary. Again, Calgary. All the green beanies are in Calgary. Hi, Blake.
Hi there, Rob. My name is Blake. I've listened to you for a while, but I kind of want to comment on two things here.
Sure.
In regards to solar panels, my work has extensively looked into switching over to solar panels. I work for a big distributor. We have about 26 warehouses across Western Canada, and in order for us to get a return on the actual solar panels, we'd be looking at about 40 to 50 years, minus the actual grant. Before the actual grant was over, so it's probably higher now. Another thing I would also like to comment on about solar panels is that because of the hailstorm that we had 2 years ago, a lot of people actually ended up having solar panels on their roofs, and they actually had to pay probably close to $4,000 to $5,000 to get them removed before the roofers could come in and actually redo all of the roofs. Also,
I didn't think about that.
Also, just because I'm just going to throw a bunch of stuff at you here. I listened to you yesterday, and I want to put out there that I was actually one of the few people that actually was able to buy their home at a very young age. I bought my home at about 21, and that was primarily due to just me and my wife working away. And I just want to put a note out for every young person that's out there. You can afford a house if you put your mind to it. That is not unattainable anymore.
Yeah, that was yesterday's topic. Let's stick to today's topic. But you are of the opinion that solar panels are not worth the money. You don't think they're worth the money
right now. I think once the technology advances, I think it'll be way more worth it. But as of right now, the cost does not outweigh the benefit.
Cost prohibitive. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I don't know. We keep hearing, people keep trying to convince us. Are you convinced? Maybe you're convinced. How often have you heard, well, renewable energy is among the most affordable forms of energy now, whether it's wind or solar. In this case, we're talking about residential solar, not, big, huge solar farms, for example, which is, another thing altogether, whether it's wise for governments to go down that road. But, let's kind of stick to the topic here. I'm looking for actions that you have taken with your own place that, yes, we're good for the environment, but are they saving you money? That's the big thing. Budgets are tight. Are these money saving moves? Heat pumps and solar panels and EVs, these sorts of things. That's all we want to know. 1-833-668-2577 on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
I believe Randall is up next on Talkback. Hello, Randall.
Hey, how you doing?
Very good, Randall. Hello. All the better for hearing from you today. Yeah, Randall, what's your experience, please?
Well, thanks, Shay. My experience is, I'm doing all I can for the environment. I got my own chickens. We got a garden. We grew tomatoes, probably about more than we're going to eat. It's got to give some to the community. And I put new carburetors in all my new truck. I put new carbs in all my old trucks here this summer. But I'm surrounded by people that are off-grid, legitimately off-grid out here in the country. Like we're 10 miles from Stabley sort of thing out in the foothills. And I can tell you there's probably some good parts to it, I would imagine. Like you get to feel like you're off grid, which I think is a lot of it is just people feeling I'm off grid. I'm not on the grid. From my experience, what I've seen, I got a guy I'm staring at right now. I'm staring at 50-odd panels he's got on his property here in two different spots. And it's still not enough energy for their little home. I think sometimes it's a little too overcast. They're not getting good power into their house. So he's got generators, they're gas generators. Now he's got all EV vehicles, 4 of them, right? And he's got to use that gas generator in the wintertime to charge those vehicles because he doesn't have enough power. And now he's got battery wall on his, and there's three homes out here that are off, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 now, 4 homes out here off grid. They're all struggling to some modicum or another with enough energy. Their lights are off at nighttime, probably around 7 o'clock. They kill all their lights because that sucks a lot of energy, even if they're energy efficient. I don't see them living as comfortable as they could. I don't think it's there yet. I don't think it's there yet. There's this impetus that I'm going to get some money back. I'm going to put some money back. I've known a guy in Longview who's had solar panels on his house for 10 years, and he still hasn't gotten an actual nickel back because of the investment that's going into it. The fellow that said it's going to take him 25 years to get the money out, he's absolutely right. He's right. This isn't a free money thing. And I think people look at this like it's free money somehow. It's not free money. You're not really putting any significant amount of power back into the grid. It costs more money than anything for them to get that power back into your grid. So it's a cost plus program for people, and they're bearing the brunt of it. And I feel bad for them. I feel bad when I see them, the lights are off, whatever, no Christmas lights up, the heat, it's got to be cold in there sometimes, even with all your high efficiency stuff. Some of these homes out here are 3,000 square feet. You can't heat that home properly on solar. I don't care who you are. It's not, you don't have enough panels on top of that. And here's the big thing I want to say. For me, it's an eyesore. These panels are disgusting, and they're all over out here. There's about 100 panels surrounding us. They don't look good. They're ugly as heck. They're black. It's dismal. It takes up. We moved out to the country for the country, not to stare at people's panels. And again, I'm not against it. Put them on your roof. Right. Maybe throw them on the roof. Put them on the roof. Get them off the land.
But you think this idea of living off grid, Randall? This idea of living off grid might be like there's kind of an attitude that like I'm free of the man, or what?
Yeah,
do you think that's part of the
motivation?
motivation?
What it is. That's exactly what the attitude is. And then they look at us disparagingly. And I don't have to worry. My lights are always on. If it gets too cold, they're more than welcome to come on over here. We got 2,800 square feet of space for them. But that's the attitude exactly. Is I'm sticking it to the man saying, you're not. you're paying for that more, and you're not getting what you think you're getting out of it. On top of that, these batteries, the panels themselves might last, but the battery walls you got to put in to sustain that kind of energy, they catch on fire. They're dangerous as heck, and it just adds to the again. There's a sea can sitting in the guy's yard to hold his battery wall on these properties, and it's gross. Like it doesn't look good. And I got vehicles on my property, I get it, but it's not a black panel sitting,
Gotcha.
like just
Okay.
sitting there
All
being
right.
this big ominous thing. I don't think it's worth it, and I think hopefully it gets there. I'd love to have it, but we've been reading about this in popular science since the 70s. We're not there yet.
Not there yet. All right. Very thorough. Thank you. Yeah. Good call. Interesting. Brian up next. Hello, Brian. Hi, Brian. Are you with me, Brian? No, I don't think Brian's here. All right. Let's try Karen then. Let's go to Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi there. I'm coming
Hi,
at
Karen.
it from a slightly different thing. My main motivation was more economic, other than I hate waste. So it started a bit with the reduce, reuse thing, and I realized how much stuff people just waste and they throw away, and it's useful. And we have small acreage, hobby farm, and that hobby farm is an actual farm now with chickens, with greenhouses. We provide nearly all of our own food. Those greenhouses were built from recycled materials. They're not, eyesores. They look just like, commercial greenhouses. Some of them are made from, the portable shelter frames that people want to throw away when the covers get bad. I have people that have taken down bigger greenhouses, and they come by and they say, hey, can you use this plastic? I go, sure, I can. The raised boxes were with wood waste from mills that they just trash it. We recycle as far as composting, the chickens and pet pig and ponies, they do it all for us. So my mother-in-law calls it retro living because she says we kind of do things the way they did it, back in the day, and everybody didn't want to do it anymore. But we have all organic food. We actually have enough to sell. We do have bees, but instead of paying for the output, we partnered our space with professional beekeepers, and so they put all the hives up. They paid for everything, do the work, and we share the honey that we sell. We sell plants. We save our own seeds. So I won't lie and say it isn't labor intensive, because it is. But there's often willing people. There's a young agrarians program where you got, some young idealistic folks that want to try stuff, and they'll come and they're happy to live in a trailer and provide some muscle that I don't have. I have a couple of old seniors that don't have space, but they grew up that way, and they're happy to share in the work for a share in the produce. Like
and the
there's
spoils.
Ways,
sure. Okay.
There's ways to do all of it if you really decide you want to do it. I love the idea of a lot of this other stuff people are talking about. I never had money to put up in a lump sum like that to do something like that.
Yeah.
But, if you're careful and you're thrifty and a little bit creative and you're willing to put, a little bit of muscle in there, you can do things. I mean, my grocery bill averages around $50 a week at the most, and that includes dog food, cat food, and things like that.
Right. Okay, really interesting. Thank you, Karen. I got to run, Karen. Yeah, I appreciate the call, though. Be right back on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
We're talking about investments that are good for the environment but can also save money, or do they save money? Maybe as we make our way through this show, that's being called into question. Heat pumps, solar panels, going off grid, buying EVs. growing your own food. Ernie is up next. Ernie. Hi, Ernie in Kitchener today. Hi, Ernie.
Hey, Rob. How you doing?
Very good, Ernie.
Hey,
yeah,
Rob.
good to hear from you.
Good. So we bought a house about 3 years ago, and I wanted to make it as energy efficient as possible and without really killing the bank too much. So we explored a bunch of different avenues. So the government, I think it was the provincial, the heat pump incentive. I think it's run out now, but it was here. And I have a good buddy that's an HVAC guy, and we had an old AC unit, probably about, I was going to have to replace it at some point. It was still working. And he just said to me, he's like, why don't you just put this heat pump in? He's like, the incentive is great. And after doing everything, it cost me I think it was $600 for this heating and cooling system. Instead of buying an AC unit, it would have cost me about we got a big house. It would have cost me, I think, about $3,000 or $4,000. So that's where I figure I got my cost savings out of just replacing the unit because of the incentives. Now, would I have done it without the incentives? Not a chance. And that's where
So your
I
net
got my
cost, your net cost for the heat pump was $600, right? Your net cost after the rebate.
So
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
After the rebate. So that was good. And then we explored the solar panels. So this is where I'm going to tell you with this, and a lot from what you're hearing from your callers. We contacted a company, and we have a significant roof where it would be a lot of them. And it was just so far out the window, not even close to being worth it to get any sort of money back. It was, as soon as we had the meeting done, it was like, okay, so we're not doing this. And I have a good buddy that's an electrician. So what he told me, what I could potentially do is, so I'm not sure exactly what the allotment is. What he's done to his home and he's done to a bunch of his friends is, if you're below a certain kilowatt, as soon as you get to a past the number, then you have to get, I can't remember exactly what you have to get, but you have to get a whole new system, it costs a ton of money. But if you go just below that number, it's not going to, you're not going to get free hydro, but it's going to offset the cost a lot. And it's the most cost efficient way if you actually want to get some panels up.
Okay.
If that makes any sense, I'm trying to explain it the best I can. Because I'm not sure
you're explaining it well. Yeah, maybe some of the other callers will know a bit better. Look, we're just a little tight on time. When they gave you that number and you were like, well, we're not doing that. I mean, what was that number?
Rob, it was going to take, I think, 30 years to even make it worth it. You're gonna have to replace the roof if you don't go steel roof. You're gonna have to replace the roof, and that's all at my expense if I pull the panels off. Right? It's just
so, 25 grand, 30 grand. How much did they want for it?
No, it was 60,000, but we had and I'm telling you, it's not your regular size roof. It was a big roof.
Big roof. I guess so. $60,000. Holy smokes. Okay. Thank you for your call. Be right back on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So we've been calling it going green and saving money and asking what you've done that could be good for the environment and saves money. Or around the house. Heat pumps, solar panels, very popular topic today. But, other energy efficient retrofits, off-grid living, buying EVs, that kind of stuff. Ian in Kitchener. Hi, Ian.
Hey, how you doing? I've called in before. You'll probably recognize my voice, but I walk the talk, and I've been doing it for 20 years. I've been driving EVs for 10 years. I've got the solar on 3 properties, and some of the junk that I'm hearing, it's not a lot of time to get into this, but at the same time, it's like, when do these people who are off-grid install their systems compared to what is happening today? To give an example, a 200-watt panel 15 years ago was $900. I can get 700-watt bifacial for pennies on the watt. And these people are not keeping up with the technology. And I'm hearing so many myths, the power walls, they're fire hazards. No, they're not. And, I've saved so much money. My home in Kitchener is completely off gas for 2 years. So, you know what? If you're smart about it, I think one of the problems
Just don't insult the other callers. Just don't insult the other callers. Okay, we know we've heard significant sums of money here. I'm just saying, somebody called $20,000, another one $40,000, another one $24,000. These are people with real life experience who have done it, and I'm only asking the questions, sir. I'm just curious how much it costs. Just asking how much it costs.
Well, about a month ago, there was a guy who got panels installed, and it was $50,000. When I looked at his system and what he installed, that thing wasn't worth any more than 20 grand. So I guess my point is, I feel that there's part of the industry, they're not being honest, the installers, with the true cost of what this actually is. And the other thing, too, is if you're a DIYer, I installed all my systems. And you know what? I don't have an electrical degree or anything like this. If you understand positive, negative, and you research a little bit, it's not that difficult to do. And you save a ton of money that way. But I understand what you're saying about, the cost of some of these things. I feel there's some guys that are really chipping the people off on this stuff. And the other thing, if you look past Canada, outside of the world, there are so many amazing things happening. Solar and wind just surpassed coal about 2 weeks ago for energy. And, places like Alberta have a huge opportunity with solar as well. And, we shouldn't close our mind to this. The other thing, cost-wise, how much money did you spend on gas? How much money are you spending on healthcare with the propping up healthcare because of the gas transportation sector? There's all these other sort of costs that we don't seem to factor in as well.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because I'm trying to bring it down. I'm trying to avoid kind of big picture stuff and bring it down to the household level, right? Okay. Yep. How much do you figure you save a month? You have an electric car. You have solar on your property. I'm talking about your primary residence here. How much do you figure you're saving?
Well, if you do the solar right, you can basically write off all the electricity that you're using for the electric car and for the heat pump and everything. But that also comes down to how many panels do you have up or your space, and how much is your actual electric bill. If you don't have a car, okay, you got the heat pump. But everyone's different, and I understand. If someone's got a
but I'm asking you.
Home,
I'm asking you.
Myself, I'm net zero. I'm negative. Like, I haven't been on gas for 2 years, and
how much? Okay, gosh, it's hard to pull an answer out of you. How much did you used to spend on gas?
Easily. I used to drive a van in waste vegetable oil for 8 years. But gas-wise, I got so fed up with spending money on gas. What was it, $50 to $100 a week? Because, I toured with a band, and basically I went from $100 a week to like
say $250, $300 a month, maybe conservatively, right?
For
maybe even more.
For my electric car is less than $40 a month. And I'm driving to a gig right now, and I easily drive, mine's probably, like I drove to Mexico this year, 9,500 kilometers. That cost me maybe $400.
Cool. And what did your electricity bill used to be before you switched over?
Easily over $200-300.
$200 to $300. Okay. All right. Thank you. Gotta go. Rock on, man. Bye-bye. I'm Rob Snow. It's Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Let's go back to Calgary. Ryan's in Calgary. Good to hear from you, Ryan. Thank you for calling.
Hey, Rob, how are you doing today?
Very good, Ryan. Thank you for calling. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the one thing we did, me and my wife, we put a rubber roof on our house. It's a hail-proof roof.
Okay.
And it's made by a company in Calgary called EuroShield, and it's 70% recycled tires. And what they do is they mold the tires into like slate-looking or like different shingle styles.
Mm-hmm.
But it ups it's 100%. 100% hail-proof. It's got a 50-year warranty and a 100-year lifespan. The average roof to put a shingled roof on your house is $7,000 to $8,000. This roof was $16,000, but in 20 years, I'll get my money back. So
right.
That's one thing. Your insurance drops a little bit because you have this on your house. And when I resell my house, it's a selling feature, obviously, so it might make a little bit of money there. But it's more peace of mind to me, and two, you're doing something for the environment as well.
Okay. So what makes it more, say, environmentally friendly, would you say?
The fact that
you're
you're
recycling the tires, first of all. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's the fact that if a hailstorm does come through in Alberta, it tears up the roofs. The roofs have to be ripped off, replaced.
Yeah.
So you're saving money there. You're saving the environment there because you're not replacing roofs all the time. They actually had a rebate out after we had that huge hailstorm in the north Calgary. They had a rebate out, and we missed it by like 5 months, but I went ahead with it anyways and put it on my house. So that's just one thing that I thought to mention. They actually redid, St. Andrews golf course in Scotland.
Yes.
Yeah, they have slate roof on the clubhouse, and the clubhouse was getting hit with balls so many times that it was shattering the slate roof. That St. Andrews contacted EuroShield, and EuroShield put the roof on the clubhouse out of this product.
EuroShield. Okay, that's interesting. Sir. Okay, thank you, Ryan. Very interesting. Never heard of it. EuroShield a recycled tire roof, a rubber roof. Okay, that's a new one for me. Doug up next. Doug's in Waterloo. Hello, Doug.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, just need you to speak up a little bit there, Doug. Right into the phone.
Sorry, you got it now?
Yep. Yeah, I got you loud and clear now. Yep.
All these people should look at some YouTube videos that show you how to take a wood stove and convert it to a waste oil heater. It's not dangerous. You don't blow smoke, and it's free fuel. You can get that from the wrecking yard. And it doesn't put smoke out the chimney. I'm just giving you information. There's some girls from Nigeria in high school did a project, and you can look at many videos with them where they took urine and turned it into hydrogen and were running a gas generator on it.
Right. Okay.
I'm about to finally find a diesel vehicle because I can run it on used motor oil and gasoline as a fuel. As bizarre as that sounds, when Rudolf Diesel introduced his compression ignition motor at the Paris World's Fair with the Eiffel Tower, it was running on peanut oil. And when he was heading back to England, they threw him overboard, and it's been petroleum-based oil ever since. So you mix 17% gasoline with used motor oil that you can get a combination with automatic transmission fluid from the junkyard. You filter it, and it's your fuel. I'm just giving points to people if they want to look into it and do what I'm doing.
So you have actually tried some of these things?
I'm all set. I finally found the diesel vehicle, and I've researched it. I'm living in a trailer, and I'm heading to Mexico, so I haven't done the waste oil heater. But it's quite convincing on the YouTube videos, and you just go to the mechanics that do oil changes or go to a wrecking yard, but don't pay for it because they have to take it away. It's a nuisance.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All
right.
Hydrogen from girls from Nigeria. There's all kinds of videos where they're running a gas generator on hydrogen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting enough. Okay. We'll be right back. We'll stop here. Time for one or two more calls. 1-833-668-2577. It's Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Going green to save money has been our topic for the day. Really interesting one today, I have to say. Some surprises. Grant in Midwestern Ontario. Hello, Grant.
Yes. I'll get right to the point. I put geotherm in 2009.
Okay.
And there was a great incentive to do it from our provincial government. It cost $22,000, to install, and I was going from oil at the time, and the rebate was approximately 50%.
Okay.
And I thought maybe I was crazy, but they figured the payback was about 7 to 10 years, and the heating system's supposed to be good for 50 years. So anyways, I'd done it, and it paid for itself in about 7 years.
Good for you. Okay.
Yeah, but you need it works best in rural area where you can they put pipe in the ground down 5 feet, and that's where they draw the heat out of the antifreeze that's put in there, circulated. Anyways, nobody's ever mentioned it, but hey, anybody that's put it in, I've never heard any complaints.
Yeah. How much do you figure that saved you in the end? Like on a monthly basis, what would you ballpark that at?
Well, at that time, it was costing me about $200 every 3 weeks for oil.
Right. Okay.
And my options were go to oil, back to oil, or propane. And so the only cost is putting in the filters, which is normal for any airflow. And other than that, electricity. You need electricity. It does take a little more electricity in the wintertime, because if it isn't quite warm enough, there is an electric heater in that will kick in to keep your heat constant, and it's also an air conditioner.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
It works.
All right,
both
Grant.
ways.
Yeah. Thank you, Grant. Yeah. Good to hear from you. 22,000 rebate of about 11,000, and no regrets by the sound of it. We have time for one more here. Rick in Kitchener. Hello, Rick. Hi, Rick.
Hey, how are you?
Very good, Rick. Thank you. What about you?
Similar story. I've put in a geothermal about 10 years ago. No rebates. In St. George on an acre property, and basically, my savings, it paid itself off in about 5 years. I paid about $50,000 for it.
Wow.
The heat is great. The AC is great. The hydro does go up a little bit, but when you average it out, I'm probably saving a month. So probably for the last 3.5 years, I've been saving a month easily. If you average it through the year, about $150 a month between utilities.
Okay.
And I still have propane because my wife, insists on cooking with gas.
Okay.
And I use that for my my water supply, my hot water as well. But again, if I would have went completely gasless, then there's other savings that you get as well, where you're not having to put in carbon monoxide detectors. There's a lot of different things. And the truth is that there's a lot of new things happening. I'm a builder. I'm building a house right now for my kids. We put solar on there. It's $35,000. The payback's going to be about 7 years. We just got to look outside of the box. It's not a one solution fits all. It's you got to work with everything that's there. And I think if we put balance to it, we'll be able to get better. We can't just think about just electric. You can't think just about gas. You got to think about everything.
Gotcha. Okay. Really interesting last two calls there. Thank you for all your calls today. I really enjoyed the discussion. Tomorrow is the Friday Free for All Talkback, so we'll follow your lead tomorrow. You come up with a topic during Fridays. Hope to hear from you then. The latest breaking news is coming up next on News Radio.